In this video, you're going to be able to add and subtract fractions by first finding the lowest common multiple of the denominators. So we're looking at how to add or subtract two fractions. In this question, you've got 5/8 plus 7/8. So you need to simplify the following fractions. Now, the first step would be you need to have a look at the denominator. So the number at the bottom. So in this case, both the numbers of the two fractions at the bottom are the same. So the fraction has the same number of denominator. So in that case, we can simply add or subtract the two fractions by adding or subtracting the top numbers. So if the numbers at the bottom are the same, you can go ahead and you can add the top numbers. So here I'm going to add 5 and 7. So the top numbers of the two fractions, which gives me 12. So in that case, you end up with 12/8. So you don't change the number at the bottom. You just leave that. You just add the numbers at the top. Now here again, you need to simplify the following fractions. So I'm going to look at the numbers at the bottom and I'm going to ask myself, are they same or the different? So in this case, they're the same. So you have the same denominator. So if you have the same denominator, you can go ahead and you can just add or subtract. So in this case, we're subtracting the top numbers. So 24 minus 11, which gives me 13. So you get an answer of 13/7. Now in this question, 3/10 plus 4/5, you'll notice that the denominators are different. So in this case, we need to do an extra step before we can add or subtract the fraction. So because you have different denominators or different numbers at the top, you need to have a common denominator for both. So you won't be able to add any fraction unless it has a common denominator. So the first step here is you need to find the lowest common multiple. So what number is the smallest multiple of 10 and 5? So we need to figure that out first. So to find the lowest common multiple for 10 and 5, it's going to give me 10. So 10 is the lowest common multiple. So once you have found your lowest common multiple, you're going to put that at the bottom. So in this case, it makes both of your fractions have the same denominator. So whatever step you do to the bottom of the fraction, you need to do to the top. So to the bottom, at 10, I had to times it by 1 to give me 10. And in the second fraction, I times 5 by 2 to give me 10. So I'm going to times the top one by 2 as well. And in the other one, I'm going to times 3 by 1. So 3 times 1 gives me 3, and 4 times 2 gives me 8. So now that you have the same bottom numbers in those two fractions, I can simply add them. So 8 plus 3 gives me 11. At the bottom, you have 10, 11/10. Now in this question, again, you can see that the bottom numbers are different. In the first fraction, it's 18. The second fraction, it's 6. So I'm going to find my lowest common multiple. Now in this case, the lowest common multiple for 18 and 6 is 18. It is the lowest number that is a multiple for both of them. So once I've found my lowest common multiple, I'm going to place that at the bottom. So now you have two fractions with the same denominator. Now again, whatever I do to the bottom of the fraction, I need to be able to do that at the top. So I times 18 by 1, so I'm going to times 11 by 1. And I have times 6 by 3, so I'm going to multiply 1 by 3 as well. So what I get is 11 times 1 is 11, and 1 times 3 is 3. So now that I have the same denominator, I'm going to subtract. So I can subtract the top numbers. So I can get 11 take away 3, which gives me 8/18. So once you have completed that step, you need to make sure that it is the most simplified version at the end. So you have to actually simplify the end result. So always make sure that the fraction you have in your answer is the smallest possible version. So to do that, to simplify a fraction, we need to find the highest common factor. So the highest common factor is the highest number that you can divide both of them by to help you simplify that fraction. So in this case, it's 2, as you can divide 18 by 2 and 8 as well. So if I divide 8 by 2 and 18 by 2, it's going to give me a number that will be the simplified version. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, 18 divided by 2 is 9. Excuse me, 4 over 9.